My name is Susan Seebeck, and I'm going to share with you an ancient Zuni tale today. It was first translated in 1884 by Frank Hamilton Cushing. My story comes from the adaption by Kristina Rodanas. The title is Dragonfly's Tale. Once, many lifetimes ago, lived a great people called the Ashiwi. The Ashiwi were farmers and had wonderful crops of corn. The reason for their bountiful harvest was because of the spirits, the great corn maidens that watched over them. The corn maidens would bring in a misty spring wind to blow away the winter and a gentle summer rain to water their crops. After a particular bountiful harvest, the chief was sitting back and he was watching some children having a mud fight in the village. He decided that a type of mud fight would be a great way to show off their wealth to the other villages, but instead of using mud, they would have a feast and then they would have a fight using balls of dough and bread and batter and things of that sort to show how much they had. So they planned the great feast and they invited their guests. The corn maidens heard all the commotion and they decided to go into the village to see what was going on. As they came into the village, they came across two children eating cakes dripping with honey. The children offered the old women something to eat, but an elder came by and knocked it out of their hands and said, "Do not give this to these old women. They need to get their own food and should not be begging like coyotes looking for a free meal." The corn maidens were saddened and they moved into the shadows to see what else would happen. Soon the chief gave the signal for the battle to begin. People began slinging balls of dough at one another and globs of batter and pieces of bread. The guests were disgusted and they stepped back and they watched as this great waste was taking place. The corn maidens were saddened by all that they saw and they decided to teach the people a lesson. That night as they slept, they sent in the seed eaters to eat up all that was left and to go into the storerooms and eat half of what was in the storerooms. The next morning the people woke up and they saw everything had been cleaned up and there was no crumbs left or anything. And then they saw in their storerooms that half of their food was gone. But they said, "That is no problem. We have plenty left to make it through the winter." However, the winter lasted longer, as the corn maidens did not send that gentle breeze to blow away the winter wind. And when they planted their seeds, they did not send the misty rain to water their crops. So there was a great drought and no food left. The following winter, the people found themselves starving. They decided one night that they would have to leave and go to another village to live if they were to survive. When they left, they did not realize they left two children behind. The children woke in the next morning to find themselves alone. They did not know what to do, for they too were hungry. The older brother took a corn husk and made it into a type of butterfly doll to keep his sister's attention so she would not feel her hunger. She played with the butterfly doll, and it seemed to come to life as it went, "Thee-nee-nee, let me be free, let me be free." And so they released it, and it went up through the hole in the ceiling and flew off. The children went to sleep, and as they slept, the butterfly found the corn maidens and told of the children and how they would starve. The corn maidens said, "We will help them because they tried to give us food once." When the children awoke in the morning, they found their house full of corn and beans and squash, and they had plenty to make through the winter. The corn maidens came and blew away the winter wind, and the children started to plant their own corn, and they gave thanks as they planted to the corn maidens for helping them. Then the corn maidens brought the misty rain, and their corn grew at a tremendous pace. Soon the children had fresh corn to eat, and they roasted it, and they ate it, and they lay down and went to sleep. As they slept, the Ashiwi people came back and they said, "Oh, look, we are truly blessed. Look at all this corn." And the chief said, "No, it is not us. It is these children that are blessed, and they have taught us a great lesson." Now the people knew not to show off all of their wares and to be thankful for what they have. And the dragonfly, the butterfly that they made, is now the dragonfly that you see flitting from cornstalk to cornstalk in the summer sun. And that is Dragonfly's tale. Thank you. I'm Susan Seebeck.